I never planned to buy Ocean View Terraces. The exclusive beachfront complex had been home to our family for decades, until my sister Rachel decided she was too important to share. But life has a funny way of serving justice when you least expect it. I'm Alexandra Chen, 34, and unlike my sister, who flaunts her wealth at every opportunity, I prefer to keep my success quiet. While Rachel posts every designer purchase and luxury vacation on Instagram, I've spent the last decade building my real estate investment firm. She thinks I'm just a boring accountant who got lucky with a few investments. She has no idea that Asian Properties manages over $300 million in prime real estate. The day everything changed started normally enough. I'd driven down to Ocean View Terraces to visit our parents' old condo, which Rachel had claimed after their retirement to Florida. The security guard, Tommy, who'd known our family for years, waved me through with a sympathetic smile. "Miss Chen," he called out, "just so you know, your sister left strict instructions about parking." I nodded, already knowing what was coming. Rachel had been increasingly territorial about the premium oceanfront parking spots that came with our parents' unit, never mind that they'd always let me use them when visiting. I parked in the guest area instead, but apparently that wasn't good enough for Rachel. As I was walking toward the building, her latest Mercedes screeched to a halt beside me. "What are you doing here?" she demanded, stepping out in designer workout wear that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. "Hello to you too, Rachel. I'm picking up some of Mom's old photos she wanted me to send to Florida. You should have called first. I'm having my wellness group over for sunrise yoga and mimosas." I tried not to roll my eyes. Rachel's wellness group was just an excuse to show off her Ocean View Terrace to her social media followers. "I'll be quick," I promised, starting to walk away. "Oh, and Alexandra." Her voice dripped with false sweetness. "You parked in the premium guest section. That's for resident guests only. The fine is $5,000. I turned back, sure I'd misheard. "What?" "I'm on the resident board now," she smiled, tapping her perfectly manicured nails on her car door. "We've implemented new parking regulations. Pay up or I'll have your car towed." "Rachel, that's ridiculous. I'm family. Rules are rules. I'll text you my Venmo." As I watched her strode away, I noticed something interesting. A small for sale sign had appeared in the management office window. Ocean View Terraces, one of the most prestigious addresses in the city, was being sold. Later that day, as I transferred the absurd $5,000 fine to Rachel, which she immediately posted about on Instagram with a caption teaching people to respect rules, I made a call to my office. "James, remember that beachfront acquisition we were considering? I found something better. Get me everything you can on Ocean View Terraces." The next 2 weeks were intense. The complex's owner, an aging real estate tycoon, wanted to retire and had quietly put the property on the market. The asking price was steep, $42 million. But my analysis showed it was undervalued. "The location is prime," James reported, spreading documents across my desk. "Property values in the area have doubled in the last 5 years. Plus, there's unused land that could be developed." "What about the current residents?" "All protected by their lease agreements," though he smirked. As the owner, you'd have considerable say in the resident board composition. I thought about Rachel's smug face as she demanded that fine. "Get me a meeting with the seller. And James, use our subsidiary company name. I don't want anyone knowing Asian Properties is involved." The meeting was set for the following day at my office. Harrison Montgomery, the current owner, was exactly what I expected: old money, impeccably dressed, and ready to retire. "Miss Chen," he said, settling into the chair across from my desk, "I must admit, I was surprised by your interest. Ocean View Terraces is a unique property." "Unique is exactly what we're looking for," I replied, pushing forward my offer. $45 million, all cash, fast closing. His eyebrows shot up. "That's above asking price." "I know the value of what I'm buying, Mr. Montgomery, including the potential for expansion on the unused beachfront land." He studied me for a moment. "You know, your sister serves on the resident board." Quite vocal about her opinions. I kept my face neutral. "Is she?" I hadn't heard. 2 days later, I signed the purchase agreement. Ocean View Terraces, the crown jewel of the coastline, was mine. But I wasn't done yet. The first change I implemented was subtle. New parking regulations were posted. All previous premium guest restrictions were eliminated. Rachel predictably called an emergency board meeting. I watched through the security cameras as she stormed into the management office, waving the new parking notice. This is unacceptable. I personally implemented those restrictions. The new property manager, handpicked by me, remained calm. The changes come directly from ownership, Ms. Chen. If you have concerns, you'll need to take them up with Ocean View Holdings. Fine, set up a meeting. Today. I'll see what I can do. That afternoon, I had Tommy, the security guard, deliver a notice to Rachel's door. Her premium resident parking spots were being reassigned to the owner's personal use. Within minutes, my phone exploded with texts. Rachel, what the hell is this? Those are my spots. Rachel, I'm calling my lawyer. Rachel, do you know who I am? Rachel, I'm on the board. I didn't respond. Instead, I drove to Ocean View Terraces in my modest Audi, using my new owner's key card to access the premium parking area. Rachel's Mercedes was still there, now sporting a warning notice on the windshield. Right on cue, she came charging out of the building. You can't park there. That's my spot. I stepped out of my car, holding up my owner's ID card. Actually, Rachel, it's my spot now. She froze. What are you talking about? Ocean View Holdings? I smiled. That's me. I own the building. The color drained from her face as understanding dawned. That's impossible. You're just an accountant. Actually, I'm the CEO of Asian Properties. We manage over $300 million in real estate. And now that includes Ocean View Terraces. She stared at me, then at the building, then back at me. You can't. I can, I did. Oh, and about that $5,000 parking fine. I pulled out my phone, showing her the transfer receipt. Consider it your last act as a board member. The new ownership is restructuring the resident board, effective immediately. Rachel's perfectly made-up face crumpled. You did this on purpose. To humiliate me. No, Rachel. I did this because it's a smart business investment. The humiliation. I gestured to her car with its warning notice. That's just karma. As I walked away, I heard her calling after me, her voice losing its usual confident edge. Alexandra, wait, we can talk about this. But I just kept walking, pulling out my phone to text James, start the renovation plans. Phase 1. Updating the guest parking policy. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just about getting even. It's about taking something someone thought they owned and showing them they never really deserved it in the first place. And this was just the beginning. The changes at Ocean View Terraces began immediately. Rachel watched in horror as her carefully cultivated, exclusive atmosphere was systematically dismantled. First came the new parking policy. All residents now had equal access to spots, assigned by lottery rather than influence. This is destroying property values. Rachel cornered me in the lobby one morning. Do you have any idea what people pay for those premium spots? Actually, I do, I replied, reviewing documents on my tablet. And I also know you were charging under-the-table fees for priority access. That stops now. Her face flushed. That was standard practice. It was extortion, Rachel. Just like your $5,000 fine. The next change hit closer to home. The resident board, which Rachel had ruled like her personal fiefdom, was dissolved and restructured. New members were elected democratically with term limits and transparent voting. Rachel, of course, ran for a position. She lost spectacularly. The votes must have been rigged, she complained to anyone who would listen. But the other residents, free from her tyranny, simply walked past her with satisfied smiles. Then came the renovation announcements. The unused beachfront land, which Rachel had convinced the previous owner to leave vacant to preserve exclusivity, would become a community garden and public access walkway. You're turning our premium property into a public park, she shrieked during the resident meeting. No, I corrected her. I'm adding value through sustainable development and community engagement. Property values have already increased 15% since the announcement. But the real breaking point came when I announced the new social media policy. All residents would need written permission before using common areas for commercial photography or filming. Rachel's wellness influencer business, built on showcasing her exclusive lifestyle at Ocean View Terraces, screeched to a halt. You're targeting me deliberately, she accused, bursting into my office one afternoon. I looked up from my computer. The policy applies to everyone, Rachel. You're not special anymore. I have contracts, sponsorships, they expect content. Then I suggest finding a new location, perhaps somewhere you actually own. Her face crumpled slightly. You know I can't afford another oceanfront property. Funny how that works, isn't it? All that social media influence but no real assets. She collapsed into a chair, suddenly looking very young and lost. Why are you doing this to me? I'm not doing anything to you, Rachel. I'm running a business professionally and fairly, something you never learned to do. Is this about mom and dad's condo? Because you can have it. I laughed softly. This may shock you, Rachel, but not everything is about you. Ocean View Terraces was a sound investment opportunity. The fact that it's teaching you some humility is just a bonus. I'm your sister. Yes, you are. And as your sister, let me give you some advice. Stop posting about your luxury lifestyle and start building something real. She stormed out, but I noticed she looked more defeated than angry. The next day, James brought me some interesting information. Rachel's been meeting with real estate agents. She's trying to sell the condo. Really? What's her asking price? $3 million. Way above market value. I nodded thoughtfully, and with the new renovations starting next month, that unit will be facing a construction zone. Want me to spread that information to potential buyers? No need. Let her learn about market reality on her own. A week later, Rachel appeared in my office again, this time without her usual designer outfit and perfect makeup. She looked normal. I need to sell the condo, she said quietly. I'm aware, but no one will pay what I'm asking. Because it's overpriced, Rachel, just like those parking spots you used to control. She flinched. I can't afford to sell for less. I have expenses. You mean debt? From maintaining your influencer lifestyle? Tears welled in her eyes. I never thought. I mean, it all looked so easy. Post some photos, get some sponsors, live the dream. For the first time in years, I saw my actual sister, not the carefully curated social media version she created. Make me an offer, she whispered. For the condo? No. But you own the whole building. Exactly, and buying your overpriced unit would be bad business. I paused. However, I might have another solution. She looked up hopefully. The renovations include a new business center and cafe. We need someone to manage it. Someone who understands social media and marketing, but who's willing to learn real business skills. You're offering me a job. I'm offering you an opportunity. Salary is market rate, no special treatment. You'll report to the property manager like any other employee. But you'll learn how to build something real, not just an Instagram facade. Rachel was quiet for a long time. Why would you help me after everything? Because unlike you, I never stopped being a sister. I pulled out a contract. The choice is yours. Keep trying to maintain an illusion, or start building something genuine. She took the contract with trembling hands. Can I think about it? Take the weekend. But Rachel, the parking spot is still mine. For the first time in years, she actually laughed, a real laugh, not her practiced social media giggle. As she left my office, I noticed her Instagram status had changed. Time for a new chapter. Sometimes the best view isn't from the top floor, but from the ground up. Maybe there was hope for her after all. The transformation of Rachel over the next few months was more remarkable than any renovation happening at Ocean View Terraces. She accepted the position as business center and cafe manager, showing up on her first day in sensible business clothes instead of her usual designer outfits. Your office will be here, I said, showing her the newly constructed space overlooking the garden area. It was professional but modest, nothing like her previous ocean view backdrop for Instagram shoots. It's nice, she said, clearly trying to hide her disappointment at the view. It's functional, I corrected. Like everything else in this building now. The first week was rough. Rachel struggled with basic business operations, having spent years focusing on appearances rather than substance. She called me in a panic when the cafe's coffee supplier missed a delivery. What do I do? The morning rush will be here in an hour. Figure it out, I replied calmly. That's what real business is about, solving problems, not posting pretty pictures. To my surprise, she did. I later learned she'd driven to 3 different restaurant supply stores, personally picking up coffee beans to keep the cafe running. It wasn't glamorous, but it worked. Her Instagram following dropped dramatically when she stopped posting luxury lifestyle content. Instead, She started sharing honest stories about learning business basics, complete with mishaps and lessons learned. Lost half my followers this week, she mentioned during our monthly review meeting. But how are the cafe's numbers? She brightened, pulling out a spreadsheet she created. Revenue's up 20% since we introduced the new breakfast menu. And the business center's booking rate has increased since we added the weekly entrepreneurship workshops. I tried to hide my smile. Sounds more valuable than likes and shares. The real test came when our parents announced they were visiting. They'd been watching Rachel's social media transformation with confusion and concern. "What have you done to your sister?" Mom demanded when they arrived. "She's posting about profit margins instead of pool parties." "Actually," Rachel interrupted, arriving with a tray of coffee, "I wanted to show you something." She led them to the cafe, proudly showing off the thriving business she'd built. The space was packed with residents and local professionals. Exactly the community atmosphere we'd aimed for. "I made this happen," Rachel explained. "Not by posting about it, but by actually doing the work." Dad looked at me. "This was your plan all along, wasn't it?" The business needed a manager. Rachel needed a reality check. It was good business sense. Later that evening, I found Rachel sitting in her old parking spot, my spot now, staring at the ocean. Feeling nostalgic, I asked, joining her, "Remember when we were kids, and we used to sit here with Mom and Dad, counting stars?" I nodded. "Before you decided being my sister wasn't glamorous enough." She winced. "I was awful, wasn't I? The parking fine, the bored power trips, everything. You were lost in a fake world. Social media success isn't real success." "I know that now." She turned to face me. "Thank you, by the way, for not just taking revenge when you could have." "Oh, don't think I wasn't tempted, especially after that parking fine." "God, that was horrible of me," she laughed. "Though you have to admit, buying the entire building was a pretty epic response. It was just good business." "No, it wasn't." She smiled knowingly. "You could have bought any building. You chose this one to teach me a lesson." I shrugged. Maybe I missed my sister. Rachel's phone buzzed, another follower notification. "Look at this," she said, showing me the screen. It was a comment on her latest post about the cafe's success. "Love seeing real business content instead of fake luxury life." "Real recognizes real," I said. "Speaking of real," she hesitated. "I've been thinking about the condo. I want to sell it, at market value this time, put the money into something meaningful." Oh, the cafe's success got me thinking. There's a small coffee shop for sale downtown. Nothing fancy, but it has potential. I could build something of my own, for real this time. I studied her face, seeing determination instead of her old artificial confidence. "Send me the business plan," I said finally. "Really? If it makes sense, HN Properties might be interested in a small investment. Strictly business, of course." "Of course." She stood up, brushing off her work clothes. "I should go finish the evening reports. The cafe's books won't balance themselves." As she walked away, her phone buzzed again. This time, she didn't even check it. The next morning, I received an email from Rachel, a detailed business plan for the coffee shop, complete with market analysis and financial projections. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Just like my sister was finally becoming real again. Sometimes the best investments aren't just about property values and profit margins. Sometimes they're about investing in people, especially family, and giving them a chance to rebuild not just their businesses, but themselves. Looking out over Ocean View Terraces, I smiled at how things had worked out. Rachel was finding her way, the property was thriving, and somewhere in Florida, our parents were probably still trying to figure out how their daughters had switched roles so completely. But that's the thing about real estate and family. Sometimes the best view isn't the one from the highest floor, but the one that shows you how far you've come 1 year later. The grand opening of Starlight Coffee drew a surprising crowd. Rachel's new downtown cafe, while modest compared to her former luxury lifestyle, had a genuine charm that attracted people. The interior, which she designed herself, featured a wall of photos chronicling her journey, from her first day managing the Ocean View Terraces cafe to this moment. I stood at the back, watching my sister work the room with a different kind of confidence. Gone were the staged poses and practiced smiles. Instead, she moved naturally between customers, discussing coffee blends and business plans with aspiring entrepreneurs who have followed her transformation story. Quite a change, Dad said, appearing beside me with 2 cups of coffee. From influencer to actual influence. The coffee's better too, I smiled, taking a sip. Rachel had spent months perfecting her recipes, learning from real baristas instead of just photographing fancy lattes. My phone buzzed with a notification. Rachel's latest Instagram post was gaining traction, from fake luxury to real success. Sometimes your biggest failure leads to your true calling. Thank you at HN Properties for teaching me the hardest lesson in the best way. She tagged a photo of herself standing in front of Starlight Coffee, wearing a simple apron, genuinely smiling. The contrast with her old posts was striking. Miss Chen. It was Tony, the security guard from Ocean View Terraces. Rachel had insisted on hiring him part-time for the cafe's morning shift. Your sister asked me to give you this. He handed me an envelope. Inside was a check for $5,000 and a handwritten note. For that parking fine. Not because I have to, but because I want to. Some debts aren't about money. Thanks for seeing the real me when I couldn't. Your sister, not your social media connection. I walked over to where Rachel was arranging pastries in the display case. You don't need to repay that fine, I said, holding out the check. I know, she straightened up. But I want to start fresh, really fresh. No more debts, no more pretense. In that case, I said, pulling a folder from my bag, you might want to see this. Inside was the deed to her old parking spot at Ocean View Terraces. Really? She laughed. After everything? Consider it an investment in your continued growth. Besides, I smirked. I got tired of your car being in the visitor's lot when you come to our Sunday family dinners. She hugged me then, something we hadn't done in years, not since before the whole Ocean View Terraces saga. You know, she whispered, buying the building was the best thing you could have done for me. Even better than letting you keep your influencer lifestyle. Especially better, she gestured around her cafe. This is real. The followers I have now care about actual business advice, not fake luxury. The friends I've made are genuine. Even my bank account is finally showing real numbers, not just overdraft fees. A young woman approached Rachel, notebook in hand. Ms. Chen, could I interview you for my business school project? Your story of transformation is incredible. Rachel glanced at me smiling. Actually, you should interview both Chen sisters. Because this story is about more than just business, it's about family. As I watched Rachel share our story, I realized that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's giving someone the chance to become who they were always meant to be. And sometimes a $5,000 parking fine is just the beginning of a much more valuable journey. Oh, and Alexandra, Rachel called out as I was leaving. Next time you decide to buy a building to teach me a lesson, maybe give me a heads up. I'm thinking of expanding Starlight Coffee to the beach area. I laughed. Send me the business plan. And Rachel? Make sure there's plenty of parking.